After leaving the land where they had been enslaved, setting out in the middle of the night, it doesn't take the Hebrew children of God very long to discover the journey with Yahweh is never easy. Very soon after passing through the sea under the protective hand of God, their oppressors at their heels, these people find themselves in the wilderness. They have the promise of a new land, a land flowing with milk and honey, where they are to prosper and become a blessing to all the nations. But as they look around, things don't look too good at the moment. They are hungry. There is no food in sight. They are thirsty. There is no water to be found. They are wandering in the land of enemies who are ready to attack them at any moment, while this band of God's people is relatively small with no mighty army to protect them. Quite frankly, these people of God are scared, fearing for their very lives, fearing for the lives of their children, unable to grasp the promise of becoming a great nation, prospering in a land that God promises to give them. And they complain. They grumble. They are ready to go back to Egypt, ready to live as slaves again as best they can, rather than walk this risky walk with God toward freedom. A risky journey, leaving them uncertain of how all of this will work out, unsure if they will even survive, not knowing where the path will lead them or what they may encounter along the way. God hears their cries, their complaints. God knows their fears and takes their tears into the very heart of God. And then God reaches out to act in order to comfort, to provide, to reassure, to undergird and shore them up, helping them along this new journey with God. Now, later in the story, further along than we read today, when these children of God continue to complain, to grumble, to turn from God, God's patience reaches a breaking point. God becomes angry with these Hebrew children, impatient with their lack of trust, their inability to see how God provides, how God protects them on this risky walk with God into the unknown. But at this point in the story, God, with understanding, patience, and deep compassion, takes action to help God's people in their real need. Knowing their need for food, a very real need, God provides meat and bread in abundance, far more than they could possibly eat. Right now, this Hebrew people have not become a community of faith. They need to learn that God is with them to protect and provide. They need to learn to trust God and to trust one another. The God who brought them out of slavery, bringing them on this risky journey toward freedom, stands by, ready to help the people, and also to teach them, to build trust, to nurture this band of nomads into a true community of faith. Later again, on their journey with God, when the journey has become more familiar to them, as they gain more experience with God, when they know the transforming power of God in their lives, and when they really have become a community of faith, then God becomes annoyed and irritated with their distrust, their grumbling, their complaining. But now, on the front end of this 40-year journey, God patiently provides for the people, gently teaching them how to live on this journey with God. God promises they will eat their fill of bread every evening, of quail every evening, of bread every morning. And in the evening, the quail fly in all around the camp. The next morning, beneath the dew is a delicate, powdery, frost-like substance, the bread that God is giving them to eat. Now, there are specific instructions about this mysterious bread. They are to gather just enough for each person in the household. Some take a large amount, some take a small amount, but whatever is taken is just exactly the right amount of this mysterious bread for each person. The people are told to gather the bread early in the morning. If you're too late, it's going to be gone, melted away by the sun as the warm light moves across the earth. And they are warned, do not keep the bread overnight. But of course, you know, some have to give this a try. Maybe then they won't have to get up early every single morning and go out and gather bread. Perhaps they can begin to build a little nest egg for themselves, a little cushion for the future, a little security, just in case, because you never know, one morning you might go out and it might not be there. The excess bread, the bread stored overnight, rots and becomes filled with maggots, completely unusable. The people are told, gather double on the 6th day, for on the 7th day, the Sabbath, there will be no bread. And wonder of wonders, on this night the bread does not rot, allowing for the Sabbath to be a day of rest for the people, work-free, while they still have all they need to eat. Of course, you know, some have got to go out on the Sabbath all ready to gather bread for breakfast, and just as Moses told them, there is no bread on that morning. Now, there are really no surprises here. Someone always has to push the limits. Just give it a try to see what will happen, satisfy their curiosity, wonder, what if? Now, as someone who never liked to color between the lines, actually as someone who never really was able to color between the lines, and one who always wonders, what if I get this? I really do get this. Some people just have to find out for themselves. But that's okay. It takes time to know how to follow God, how to go on this risky journey, and then how to manage the fears and anxieties that come in the face of uncertainty when the path is unclear and the end point is unknown. The journey can be winding and circuitous. Along the way, we can get scared and sometimes stumble, but the only way to start the journey is to just begin and deal with whatever comes our way. We may worry, will things turn out all right? Will it be okay? Will it be okay for those who depend upon us? Are we sure taking this path is not a mistake? Time and again, we try to take over, controlling the future, or at least trying to control the future, when much of our sense of control is mostly illusion.